You preloaded again in your territory wars. Who can you call? Zareth prevails. Just kidding. Don't call me for that. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. We're in the Plan, which is my weekly show that I talk about all the different holotable shenanigans that are occurring, and I've decided to do this a day early, folks. I hope it's not going to mess with you too much, but there's a lot to talk about, and I was going to make this really cool video I'm going to be making soon, that we're just going to have to put it back, so just push it back, by about a day or so. Yeah, there's a lot to this one, guys. Tons to talk about. You can see it's info dump week. We had a lot of dumping that occurred this week. The road ahead, all the stuff that goes with that, the new capital ship, the territory battle user interface, the Datacron Set 8. Man, there's just too much. You guys can just read this whole list if you want to. I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to say thank you to my patrons. You guys are amazing, and I really appreciate all of your support. Truly, I mean, I'm trying to say it every episode that I'm making, guys. I couldn't do this without you, and I'm working on it. The big project right now is trying to plan new lighting and get a new CPU. If I can get a new CPU, a new computer entirely, we can start having more collaborations. We can start doing some crazy stuff, guys. I'm truly excited for it. And it all starts with my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. If you want to support the channel for free, guys, all you've got to do is hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, comment, do something like that. Mount the algorithm. For once in your life, just do it. I mean, if you do it once, you're not going to want to stop. That's for damn sure. So let's talk about things that came out this week, guys. Datacron Set 8. All the information is here. And Tuscans, as previously advertised. Separatists, which, I actually guessed all three of these on my podcast a couple days ago on Monday. I said, I think it's going to be Tuscan Separatists and Unaligned Force Users, or UFUs. And I think that, I wasn't totally confident in that, frankly, but that's what I've been thinking it's going to be. And gosh, there's going to be so much. Once again, we found another faction tag that's relevant to Inquisition. So they just keep getting stronger. So I'll be making my video about that, and there'll be an infographic available for it and everything on this coming Monday. And I need some time to be able to figure all that stuff out, and it'll give you a farming guide for once you have Conquest started, so that you can start farming those crons. We can call it Cronquest. It'll be really frustrating. Conquest pass changes. So you guys remember a couple weeks ago I talked about CG asked us what we thought about the Conquest pass. Are we spending too much money? Is it what would entice us to purchase it? And apparently they're going to be iterating the different changes that they have planned. And the first one is just to make the rewards that we earn from it more accessible from the beginning. They've done that before, back in the day when the monthly calendar was just not is as interesting to players as CG thought that it should be. They actually took the calendar and they front loaded a lot of the stuff, a lot of the end of the month stuff toward the beginning, just to give people a little bit more incentive to just log in some. Even the more casual players would be like, oh yeah, I can log in 5 times or something. This time it looks like they're going to front load some of the rewards, and that'll be good, I guess. So far, they haven't changed it. This isn't a substantial change. They're going to be changing some probably pretty serious stuff eventually, and I'm nervous because as a spender, and this is the only money I spend on my Prevail Man account. Sorry to get you guys' hopes up. On my Professor X account, that's the only money I spend on that account. I don't want that value to go away. It's the best value per dollar in the game, in my opinion, and I don't want to let it go. I don't know if we'll have a choice. Well, we'll just have to see, folks. We'll be monitoring this very closely. Now, Conquest data discs. So because we got a new character, which we'll talk about soon for Conquest, and we'll also be getting new data discs and feats and all that stuff. That's not my area of expertise, really, or interest, for that matter. I mean, I might do a stream or two here and there with just chilling, talking about whatever, while I grind the data disc stuff, but and the feats, everything in Conquest, it's not something that I am particularly interested in. However, my good friend Celiac Sarah has, she loves it. She's awesome, and she also runs my Conquest on my alternate account, which, she's just a saint, and we are all so lucky to have her. Go check out her video on all of this stuff. She's always very informative and insightful. I'm going to leave the link to that in the video description, and you get to see her new cute baby as well while she makes the video. It's pretty fantastic. Go check her out, guys. Now, one of the things that they talked about during the Road Ahead post that they gave us are the double drops, and more like just our May the 4th celebration. So like during Christmas, they don't do much for us, and that's because they want to give us May the 4th like stuff, and they also want to give us stuff during, well, I don't know if want to give. I mean, CG's always been like a little bit generous during May the 4th and during like the November anniversary time. Like they give us some decent gifts, and I mean, I always thought that was cool that they celebrate it on May the 4th instead of Christmas. I mean, it's about as ridiculous as the wizards in Harry Potter celebrating the birth of Christ. It's like, wow, you guys can perform cooler miracles than Christ, and yet you somehow celebrate his birth. It's very interesting. None of them go to church, except to be burned, apparently. But that being said, we're not talking about Harry Potter. The one thing that I did search for, guys, and this is kind of becoming an issue. I mean, it's been an issue for a while, but it's more and more prevalent. It's something that I keep noticing. It's that we don't have availability of Omicrons increasing that much at all. We just, like, the biggest increase we've had has really only been that we can purchase one Omicron every like 2 weeks if we want to use all of our GET3 materials. Like, maybe that's a slight exaggeration. You might be able to buy a couple other things, but it's not much exaggeration. You can buy 2 materials per month essentially, and that adds up to be like 1 full Omicron per year if you just decide not to get any other of the gear from GET3, and it's not much. It's not a big increase at all, but otherwise they haven't increased the availability of Omicrons at all. And so I did a search on their whole page for Omicrons, and then Omis, O-M-I. Note, folks, it's not O-M-N-I. Despite the fact that is just all over the place, people still use it. Omni. Hey, I have an Omnicron. It's not that. But you can see the little underline though. The only other results, so we're gonna get 1 Omicron material for something on Revenge of the 5th, and then and that's something we can get in the web store, and then we also get. There's Omi in the word upcoming, so there was that in a couple places. So that's the only place we're gonna get Omicrons, folks. Like, they're just not being generous with them, and they're putting an Omicron on every new character every time. Like, they've been consistent about that, and I'm glad they've been consistent in some ways. But man, in my opinion, it's becoming a little bit of an issue. We need more availability of Omicrons. Now, Poggle and Traya, this is probably my least favorite one, folks, because I've been trying to stay a little bit more positive lately. I mean, CG's really been getting me down sometimes, but honestly, I've felt like the game is in a fairly good place. I've I've been enjoying a lot of different things. I'm worried, I'm concerned, of course, about how much time I'm spending in the game, and it's not a thing that we need to discuss that much, but this is a little bit frustrating, guys. So, all right, a while ago they were like, hey, we think that here's the Poggle Omicron, yay, go apply it. But hey, also we might nerf it because it might be too powerful. And we were like, wait, what? Why might you nerf it? And they finally today, like as part of their update, like they just send out an update. They're like, hey, here's the Datacrons, here's the data disks for Conquest, you know, all the stuff that they were going to give us for the update, and then they just, like, without putting it in their notes, they also fixed or changed the Poggle Omicron to make it so it only works for against teams that aren't Galactic Legends. Because the Geonosis, I was wrong in my initial evaluation. The Geos were easily killing raid teams, like, and the good raid teams as well. And so they want to take that away, so they made it, okay, if there's not a Galactic Legend on the enemy team, then this works. And I mean, that's a pretty substantial nerf, and they didn't include it in their notes. They didn't include it until it was brought to the community manager's attention way down the line, and he had to be, like, convinced to finally put it in, which, great, okay. But then the other thing, they also changed this and also did not add this to the patch notes. They changed it so that when you counter Reva, like, Traya has been bugged. Traya cleanses people, and therefore she gets the death mark on herself. And this is a pretty substantial change because this kills Traya off, and a lot of times it just kills the possibility of you being able to counter Reva with a Traya squad. It's not 100% failure right now. It's still working for some people, apparently. We'll have to monitor, but they didn't, like, these are two huge changes that, like, I know a few people who applied the Omicron for Poggle after those patch notes went out. Like, their guild was like, hey, we need people to apply these, like, please do it. And so they did, and then only after the fact did they discover that it was just not nearly as good as it was before. I mean, I just, if you're gonna give us information about the update that we're getting, maybe just give us all the information, especially, like, the important information. It's just a little frustrating. Like, they had to go in and edit it, and it's like, those, in my opinion, those are more important than any of the other patch notes that they gave us. So please guys, just yeah, a little something. So it's good. He's been doing it for 10 years. We're good. He's good at what he does. Territory battle user interface update in the road ahead. This isn't something I was asking for, but it's just kind of nice. I mean, it's going to track our information on, I mean, it tells you how many waves you've done on each phase, and you know, it really keeps track of people's involvement in territory battles, which I think is pretty cool. So I think I would much prefer that they update the Datacron user interface. However, my guess is that not enough people actually interact with the Omicron user interface to warrant more attention to it. When are you gonna fix it, CG? I would genuinely like to know. Like, it's a source of frustration to me. I did think it was interesting too. They were like, oh, so here's some user interface things we're gonna change. That's cool. Like, here's some quality of life things, but it's gonna be later on. Like, we're gonna get this later. Like, it's gonna we're pushing it back. We're already pushing it back because we don't care about user interface stuff. We don't care about quality of life nearly as much as the things that are going to make us money. Which, I mean, it's a business, and I guess I understand it. I just chuckle a little bit derisively. Now, fleet loadouts is another thing they announced, and you know what? I've been asking for this for years, actually. Like, but since before I was a content creator, I wanted this, and now that we're getting it, I just find myself pissed that, like, I would almost have preferred that they say, like that they were just like, hey, we can't really do it. Like, it's just not possible. It's going to take like way too much work. It's basically impossible to do, guys, which is what they've said in the past a little bit. And now they've finally gone and done it. And I don't know if they had a breakthrough or if they were like, all right, let's just bite the bullet. It's going to be like 8 million man hours or whatever, you know. Maybe they just brute forced it. I have no idea. But the fact that this exists now, I just find myself picturing, like, how many hours have I spent just selecting which ships I need to use manually? And, like, yes, this will be a nice update. Yes, I very much approve it. And yes, I want it. It's a strange thing. I feel so ungrateful. And I think I just kind of am ungrateful. And I'm not... you know, it's these emotion things are so so messy, but it's hard to explain and hard to understand. I just find myself angry about this. Out of all the things, I should be so happy, and I think on some levels I am. I'm glad we're getting this. What took so long? How much time have I wasted without this, where you guys could have done it? There was a path there, and you just chose not to do it. They gave us a bunch of mechanics or information on the raid. We'll have to go through that eventually. I didn't even take time to. I read some, like, just bits and pieces here and there. It looks interesting. I've never been a huge raid guy, though. I will probably be putting out more raid videos here once it comes out, because, hey, those are... this raid might be interesting, and I want everyone to have the best pathway to be able to get your rewards and be able to get out as fast as you can, as efficiently as you can. I've always wanted that. That's been a goal for this channel, so... we'll probably be addressing that, but suffice it to say, if you guys really like raid mechanics, they gave us a lot of information. Now, things that they did not include were what the prize were going to be, what the reward structure in general was going to be like. If there's Relic 10 coming out, which I know that's a bad word for a lot of you, but if we do get Relic 10, they, and that's all the materials. They did not tell us then. We'll have like a month, guys. They say at the end of April. So even sooner than that. Actually, we're getting pretty close to it, folks. We're gonna have our title update, and if we don't get Relic 10, I'm fine with that. I don't necessarily like another form of progression. It seems like it's so imminent, but it seemed that way for a while. Maybe it's not, but one way or another, they didn't want to concern us, apparently. Now, the big thing, guys, the one that is probably the most important to me, at least the most interesting, is there's this new Sith fleet incoming. Now, this is a slide from a couple plans ago where I just showed, like, this is Arnold's link, like his thumbnail that he made, and like there was supposed to be a new capital ship with Nihilus as the lead, as the admiral, and that's been around for a year and a half, and it's been this thing that everyone's just like, oh yeah, gotta get the Ravager, and I've never really cared that much because we don't have any Sith ships really worth anything. Like the Scimitar never amounted to much, just like your mom says about you. Just kidding. That's what. I'm being mean today. However, so there's this new ship coming out. That's exciting, I guess. Yay. But we are also... So the new Conquest character is the Fury class Interceptor, which is something that's apparently going to just be driven by Darth Malgus. He's like the Dark Lord of the Sith, and he's like, let me just climb into this little snub fighter. We'll drive around. But, they just announced that the Malgus event is going to be unlockable. Like, you can do the proving grounds for Malgus now if the mission is easy enough to actually finish. Like, a lot of people are really struggling to get through the TIE Interceptor one, for instance. So, it's about 11 months, apparently, to grind each of these Conquest characters, including Malgus. So, it's going to be a ways out. However, we're going to get the Fury class Interceptor. They've already said we're also getting the Leviathan, which is Darth Revan's capital ship. It's also Darth Malak's capital ship. But, yeah, they say it's going to be commanded by Darth Revan here. And, yeah, it's going to be... I like that they use... I should have underlined this, guys. A new king of fleet battles is coming to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Like, they're saying it's like the king. Like, this is the big ship. The big bad, like it's the Executor, or it's the Profundity, it's the next in that line, like it's the next Galactic Legend ship. And we already, a lot of us already have the Admiral unlocked, which is a little bit surprising, actually, but they gave us a lot of information here, including, alright, so we're going to be getting 2 more ships, and yeah, so this is a limited time journey guide fleet mastery, which that's just the same as Executor being available at the start, in the middle, like the 15th of every month, or Profundity being available on the last day of every month, and you can earn 1 shard for that, or like unlock the ship. Or, you know, you can get more shards or whatever, or 10 shards was the number I should have said. You can get 10 shards, or you can refresh it and you get more. But the question remains, how, like, so we're going to have that to unlock it, and they've said that we're going to have to use these new ships that they're going to release here soon to unlock the new awesome ship. The Leviathan. And so the question remains, like, what ships could be it there? Like, what are we gonna look at? So what I'm thinking is we probably are just going to get more Sith Empire stuff, and you know, because the Leviathan is Old Republic, and we got the ship for Darth Malgus. We also, so looking at the pilots for Sith Empire, guys, you can see here my lopsided X is trying to, I'm not talking about my ex-girlfriends, folks, none of them are lopsided that I know of, but we have Darth Malgus is a pilot for the new ship, the Fury Interceptor thing. Darth Revan is the new Leviathan captain, or admiral, or whatever. Then we have the Sith Marauder and who does the B-28 extinction bomber, and the Sith Assassin who does the fighter. And so what else do we have left for Sith Empire? And the answer is HK-41, Malgus, Basti, and Sith Empire Trooper. And so I did some research, and I mean, this is just a quick Google search. It took me a little bit to figure out what things might possibly be within the same time period and stuff, because this is kind of a gray area for me, a blind spot, if you will, for my lore knowledge of this game. But we have the Supremacy class Starfighter that, you know, theoretically we could have the Sith Empire Trooper pilot it, and then a lot of we have a couple shuttles. Like, we have the Kylo shuttle, we have the Emperor shuttle. I don't see why we shouldn't have, like, the Sith Empire shuttle now. I mean, I want the Bad Batch shuttle. That's what I want, guys. Give me the Bad Batch shuttle. That's pretty awesome. But, you know, and make it so that it's good with, like, Mace. Make that endurance fleet good. But we could put Malgus in there, Malak in there, or we could make like Basti and Malak be in there, or like all 3, Basti, Malak, and HK, or the final one. And this isn't my idea initially. This was I think it was the guild leader of my alt guild. I could be wrong. Hopefully, don't hurt me when I if I got this wrong. But the idea, I love this idea. Maybe the Ebon Hawk. You can see on the top right there, the Ebon Hawk could be flown by, I mean, now that Darth Revan isn't available, the original idea was Darth Revan flying the Ebon Hawk with HK. Maybe we could have Dark Basti and HK fly it, though, like have a dark side version of the Ebon Hawk, which would be kind of cool, in my opinion. I don't know if it would really truly work, but that would be awesome. Just some options, though, folks. So the question is, what could we do to prep right now? So, well, here, let's skip to the next slide real quick, because you can see They said, make sure to unlock the Fury class Interceptor from Conquest right away if you want to unlock this new capital ship at launch. So people are like, oh, we don't know when it unlocks at. It's going to unlock at 7 stars, I'm pretty sure, because if you unlock it, I mean, if we're just like trying to take them literally, at least, like if we unlock it at 5 stars, they're probably not going to let us unlock the Fury class, or we get the Fury class at 7 or 5 stars. They're probably not going to let us have the Leviathan at 7 stars, or even unlock it unless we have 7 stars. So we're probably, if you look at it though, June 26th is when we're going to unlock the Fury class ship, at least get 7 stars, get enough shards for 7 stars, and then a lot of these events will start on Wednesdays or Thursdays, something like that. And so like June 28th, June 29th would be when this ship's event would occur potentially. So if you look at that, then we have some time, but we probably need to start saving crystals, guys. First off, like the last galactic chase with the TIE Defender, you could get it for about 5,000 crystals, if I remember correctly. If you had 5,000 crystals saved, the chase format would let you unlock that character, or that ship, all the way to 7 stars for about 5,000 crystals, because it was something you could refresh for pretty low cost. I don't know if they're going to do that again. Frankly, it seemed like a little pretty high drop rate, like too kind of CG for it to actually be something that made them money. I don't know though. I would love that if they did that. So try to save 10,000 crystals if you can. And that is very possible as free to play. You can do that. I know that it takes a lot of discipline. I think that's probably the least plausible thing, because I'm like, my alt, I don't want to save it. But one way or another, if you can save 5,000 per chase, that will be good. Get those ships to 7 stars if you can. And then the new capital ship, remember that format, it just takes a lot. Those refreshes are expensive as hell. It comes out to be like 1.5 vaults at least, so 150 bucks to go from 4 stars to 7 stars. However, other things you can do as well, folks. Farm the Sith fighter. A lot of people don't have it farmed. Sith assassin. A lot of people don't have her farmed because they're kind of worthless characters right now. But they're not going to be worthless moving forward, most likely. I can't promise the Sith fighter is going to be super relevant, but it is definitely a Sith Empire ship that is probably going to be taken into consideration when they release it. So, anyways, folks, that's the stuff I would advise for you to do. Farm the Sith fighter, farm the Sith assassin, and save some damn crystals. And that, I believe, folks, is it. We have had a lot to talk about, and this is overall I like this update. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of positive stuff, and it's just like tainted by this thing of like, why can't they let us know what's going on in the game? Like these huge changes that they just stealth change, and then people go into GAC and fail. They're like people locked into GAC, like quote unquote knowing that their Traya was going to be able to kill their opponent's Riva, and then they were disabused of that notion immediately and lost their match because of, like, they didn't give us the information. Why can't they do it, guys? I wish that they would. Otherwise, this is a pretty cool change, guys. I'm excited to see what the new crate raid holds for all of us, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, folks. There's a lot going on here. So thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.